Hello everyone, this is Ashish. Welcome back to Talk 4712. Let's have a discussion on a topic that probably goes around in the head of everyone who does his or her graduation. And that is the question, does the college from which you did your graduation from really matters? Now amongst engineers, NITs and IITs are the top names that goes. And this is a question that people generally ask before they get into a college, but certainly ask after they get into a college. So a lot of people are just in their own rush, and once they get into a college, they start asking themselves whether we made a mistake. Well, I can just share my opinion to you guys. I graduated from a private college, which did not give me any placement, but even after that, nothing could stop me from getting into the organizations that I wanted to work into, or even get into an IIT later for masters. So here's the case. I got into a private college graduation, and I got into an IIT Bombay specifically for my masters, which I chose not to go in later on because I went into BARC training school. So I'm just sharing my opinion. My opinion does not have to change anything, but you feel free to put your opinions down in the comment section after we have gone through it. Let's see what we actually think. So it's not completely that fair. I know what a lot of you guys want to hear, that it does not matter. IIT and NIT graduates ultimately get the same life as a private college, because that's the majority. Like above 95% of the college in this country are private colleges or non-IIT NIT, even if it is government. Get the point? So it's not that black and white. And with the experience that I have so far, so I got into graduation in 2012, graduated in 2016, and it's 2021 now. So with that experience, I can explain what really goes on. One thing I'll tell you, I've worked with a lot of IITians and NITians. So there were a lot of IITians and NITians in BARC training school which I met, and a lot more, like tenfolds more, in Indian Space Research Organization, because you know that IIST is one of the top providers of fresh engineers and scientists to Indian Space Research Organization, and IIST also is in the category of IIT itself because it takes through the same examination. If you want a good idea, Avinash was here on Momentum Podcast. You can go through that podcast to get a better perspective of what IIST is all about. IISc is also, I'm considering, in the same category, right? Also, Indian Space Research Organization directly goes for campus recruitment from IITs and NITs. They take like 4 or 5 fresh graduates from IITs. So I had an opportunity to work with a lot of them. Others found their way through the same examination that I did, the open examination, national level, that is ICRB examination. So I had an opportunity to work with them and to see, is there something different with them? And to be completely honest, there's absolutely nothing different. It's not even just on the basis of their skill. It's also the way they walk, the way they talk, the way they interact. They're exactly the same. So it's not, an IITian is not different. Trust me, I'm bringing this point because I used to think that they are filled with attitude or they are very superior when it comes to knowledge and all. They are basically the same kind of engineers that everyone else is. With that said, now let us look at what are the career differences. Now here's something that I want to point out before we go any further, is that their careers are much more smoother. You have to agree and accept that. Well, I did get into ISRO and I did get into BARC, but I was unemployed for 1 year from 2016 to 2017, where I did not have a job and I was just preparing for competitive examination. Compared to that, people from very good colleges, and I'm not saying only IIT and NIT, some of the top colleges of this country, which does possess a very good future, those people directly got into that organization right after they graduated. So there's a difference there itself. And one of my very old friend, I know that person since I was 14 years old, and now he's working in an IT sector, IT company. And what he says is that a person who is graduated from IIT basically does exactly the same work that I'm doing right now. He's from a private college also. Exactly the same work, same level of coding, same work, point to point, everything that those two people do are exactly same. The difference is that person is much younger and gets paid double just because he is from an IIT. So a lot of things work on the basis of tags as well. Even though the capability might be same, the entry pay might be very different. You see, the same company, let us say TCS, will get into a private college with a 3 lakh package, might get into a top level college with 10 lakh package. So that's the difference that happens. Now obviously the position will be different, but the knowledge with which both two students comes are also very similar, almost par to par with each other. So that is the difference that does happen. Now that's the negative part that people who are not from an IIT or an NIT should be knowing. But on the other hand, if we look at the perspective in a long term, so one thing that everyone from a non-IIT college should know is that you can still get wherever you want to get without a tag from an IIT or an NIT. That is for sure, because there are a lot of open examination. But one thing is a problem, that when you compete in campus placement in a top level college, then you're competing with, let us say, 700 or 2000 people. But when you are competing in a national level examination, then you're competing with lakhs of people. So it becomes much more difficult, and then the chances of you succeeding drops. Now, so far, I have just realized that I'm just demotivating a lot of non-IITians. But that is the thing that you should know about the truth. And I've made a lot of videos for non-IITians. I know some of you guys said in the last video that my hair is distracting. It is distracting for me as well. So I hope that you can bear with me. Now, getting back to the point. So it is kind of different for IITians. It is kind of easier to a lot of extent. And let us take an example of IST, right? 70% of the graduates over there will directly get into ISRO. However, from other private colleges, people will struggle for years. I personally struggled for 3 years. From 2016, I got on over there in 2018. So there's a difference. The level of education is definitely going to be different. I've seen that in a lot of private colleges, professors, they don't really know a lot. And a lot of times they are teaching wrong as well. So that's a problem. But these are just problems, solution to which does exist. And to all of you disheartened people, if you still stayed till this point of the video, you are going to be very happy, because now I'm going to talk about the bigger perspective. This is just what I'm talking about 2 years after you graduate, 3 years after you graduate, 5 years after you graduate. Let us talk about 10 years after you graduate, 20 years after you graduate, 30 years after you graduate. You'll find out the difference that it creates is negligible. There's absolutely no difference, because then it comes to how you are building your life. So this is the mentality that one college or one examination can change it all. Almost everybody wants that. And that is the propaganda of a lot of people who motivate you to appear for competitive examination as well. And trust me, a lot of people does prepare for competitive examination like that. That this one examination will clean it all. You know what one of my teacher used to say? ये एक exam crack कर लिया तो सारे पाप धुल गए. So those people who do not understand Hindi, if you crack this one examination, then all your sins are washed away. That means that is the capability of this one examination. Well, long story short, does not work like that. What really works, I'm going to explain. It is a very cumulative, gradual process. Let's talk about what a college does not teach you. So let us take a very simple example of what I'm doing right now. I run podcasts and I make YouTube videos. I used to run personality development courses. I think it is hold for the last 3 to 4 months. It's going to get back very soon. Other than that, I teach mechanical engineering. Well, apart from the mechanical engineering part, which is separate from the teaching part, none of it was actually taught to me in my graduation. For example, how do you get this quality of audio? How do you get this quality of video? I did not go to a film school. I made a video very recently of how I set up everything over here. and none of it was taught to me in a college. These are the things that I learned on my own. Nobody in my college taught me what is a podcast or what is a career in this. Nobody taught me about personality development, about courses online, or especially about how to deal with situation when everything goes to a lockdown. These are the things that are skills that I developed on my own. It's not like I sat under a tree and then meditated like that. No, I went through online courses and I learned it. And not any paid online course. Most of them are free on YouTube. So I just invested time on my own. This is a growth mindset that college does not teach you. And this is what really matters in longer term. Now let us see what we talked about people who graduate from top universities and what is good in their life. Well, they get a very good job sooner in their life. They get a better paying job. But what you're forgetting is ultimately it is a job only, right? So irrespective of where you graduate from, everyone is stuck with the same. I'm not saying that job is not that good. I'm just saying most people don't like it that much. And I've made a video on, I think, reality of job it is called. You can go through it if you wish. But ultimately, even if it is paying more, you will still need certain skills that you did not learn from graduation to grow your life even further. Even if it is a job, you're not working for a company, you're working in a company for yourself, but still you'll require certain skills that you'll be developing from yourself. And in a bigger picture, in a bigger perspective, that matters more. And that is why you are going to find out people who are very successful in their 40s and their 50s are nobody really cares about which college they graduated from. Now you can look at Sundar Pichai and you can say that he is from IIT, but there will be thousands of CEOs in this world who are not from any significant relevant college. And there's a list much longer for that one. All I'm saying is that opportunities are equal in both cases, and it does not mean that if you're from a good college, you cannot develop a skill to learn those new skills, which will give you even further projectile. Or if you're from a bad college, you can't get it. It is irrespective. It does not really matter. You can be from any grade of college and you will land up with the same life if you continuously keep on growing. But there's one mindset that you may want to change, is that one exam, one college, one particular event in my life, if I make that happen, then everything improves from then on. There are benefits. And if now, even today, if someone asks me what is the best way to get into ISRO, I ask them, how old are you? So if a person says that I'm 21 and I'm already doing my graduation, I tell them that go for ICRB examination. If a person says that he is 16 or she is 16, I said directly go and try to get into an IIT, because your career will be much more faster and smoother. Now, when I was 16, I did not even know the full form of ISRO and I had no ambitions of getting into it. But if a person is so much mature at such a young age, then maybe you can be mature enough to start working on that career in that earlier phases as well. So, does it help? Yes. Does it make your path smoother? Yes, it does. And there's one another saying that grass is greener on the other side. Maybe I'm not from an IIT, so I will always think that being in an IIT would have helped me be over there faster. But then again, I would just think that, well, it would have given me a better trajectory, a better projectile. But the other thing that I'm trying to make a point over here is that even if you're not from a top college, it cannot create any difference. And I'm an example for that. A lot of my friends were an example of that and are an example of that. For example, in both BARC and ISRO, IITians and NITians were only 30 to 40%. One reason would be that they would prefer working somewhere else or going for a higher degree or something like that. But majority of the people who were over there who also made it were from just a private college, a lot of them with a very low percentage and CGPA as well. So it does not matter. It's a confusing topic. It does matter, but it does not matter. So I'll have to clear it with a final conclusion. It does matter to increase the pace and decrease the time in which you achieve whatever you want to achieve. It doesn't help you to find out what you want to achieve. And even if you don't get into top university, there's nothing that says that you can't achieve what you want to achieve just because you don't have a tag of top university. So like that, it does matter and it doesn't matter. But ultimately it doesn't matter. So that's about it. I hope that I was able to answer more questions than the questions that I created. And if you have further questions, put it down in the comment section. Just wanted to share my opinion. I hope that it helped you guys out in whatever stage of career you are in. And that's about it. I'll see all of you in the next one. Till then, bye.